My hunch is you could come up with 2 or 3 reasons why you might want to eliminate or delete alcohol. No judgment, but can you think of a few reasons? My hunch is if that's you, today's episode is for you. Welcome, everybody, and welcome to episode 273. And today, John and I are going to be explaining how we can help using the emotion code healing is identify these emotions that are causing drinking, triggers, and obsessions and habits and stories. I'm going to tell you what you need to do to prepare to work with us so you can be alcohol free. Yes, I know, over the Zoomer. Hello, my name is Michael Loche, and I live in beautiful Victoria, BC, on the west coast of Canada. I'm a certified emotion code practitioner, and I'm here the first Saturday of every month with John, and today's episode 273. John, say hello and good morning to you.
Hello, everyone. John Inverarity, certified body code, belief code, emotion code practitioner, helping people all over the world with various aches, pains, concerns, and this one as well, reducing or eliminating your favorite alcoholic beverage. I'm in the west coast of Canada as well, in Kelowna, British Columbia. Just recently moved here. And yeah, happy to help people with this one. Hey, if you're watching live, say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. We always love to know who's joined us, who is with us. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and a shout out to our podcast listeners as well.
Yeah, John, I'm going to go to my LinkedIn account and see if there's people that have a question that doesn't show up on the screen. We have Natasha Paula Samuel from the UK saying hello. So good morning to you, Natasha.
Hey, Natasha.
Live on LinkedIn, let me know. I'm going to have my account open there. And again, today, John and I have a purpose, and our purpose is to introduce you to a really easy way to help you not have any cravings, triggers, desires, and most importantly, well, not most importantly, all importantly, I'm going to start saying that, all importantly, 0 side effects. And how do we do that? Well, we have a unique ability, and we're going to explain that ability to you today. If you're watching live, we're going to ask you for a little participation today. We're going to be building some lists. Again, the purpose of this episode is to say, hey, are you ready to give up alcohol and never having to buy it or drink it or shop for it or the anticipation of it and the feelings of it? If you don't want to have any of that anymore, well, John and I have a full protocol. And we're going to take pieces of that today and introduce you to what you need to do to bring to prepare for a session with us today. So, John, we are going to talk about our most important role in this whole entire process, and I'm going to show the sign, and you tell our friends what it means, please.
Proxy. So we're the practitioners. We connect up to you from any distance in the world, and we act as a proxy on your behalf. So, we're doing the muscle testing, and we make that distance connection to you with your permission, of course.
That's right. So it's like this gives us P for permission to dial into your account, which is your subconscious mind, and only ask it questions. And then we're using muscle testing. Now, John, there's only 2 kinds of questions we can ask. They are?
Yeah, a yes or no based question.
Yeah, share with how you do that. So
yeah, so my muscle testing.
Like?
Use my hand, so I loop my left like this. I take my right, couple fingers there, those 2, and I put it through there and spread this apart. So if it locks together like that, that's a yes. So my name is John. Yes, that's a yes or no based question. Or if it comes apart, my name is Bob, it would come apart. That's a no. The answer to that would be no. So that's muscle testing. It takes a little bit of practice and training to get that. And of course, Michael has a video. Natasha posted the link. Thank you very much. A little course a great course on, how to get the basics going and get comfortable with muscle testing.
Yeah. So far, here's what we do on your behalf. We're going to use muscle testing. Mine's similar. That's a yes. That's a no. Once John or Ryan tells our brain what a yes or no is, it can be anything. This is what we use. And the yes or no's that we're asking for, because we're the question askers, we're trying to find out which one of these emotions, and there's 60 on the chart, which one of these emotions, there's more than 60 on the chart, sorry. There's 10, 20, 30.
There's 60, yeah.
Yeah, there's 60 on the chart. I'm thinking of this chart where there's 90. So there is 150 in total. There's 60 on this chart. That's a lot to say. Which one is it? You can't guess, because John, the rule to releasing an unprocessed old negative emotion is two things. One, you need to have a magnet, and what's the first thing? You need to know it's...
Well, you need to like identify it, its specific frequency. You know, they're all different frequencies on the chart there. The emotion code, there's 60, so that's 60 different frequency. We need to pinpoint the one, whether it's frustration or anger, depression, hopeless, helpless, unworthy.
And it's like if our client said, hey, would you be my proxy and go into my computer and delete a Word document? Well, it's not enough because it didn't identify it, right? So can you say, can you delete an emotion? Say, oh, we can delete it. Which one? And the client doesn't know which one because there's 150 to choose from. But you and I, because we have this unique ability to connect with somebody, use muscle testing and get a yes or no answer, then we can identify what the emotion is. So now, here's what we've done so far. We became your proxy. We use muscle testing to find out what the emotion was on that chart. Big deal. We found the emotion. Hey, we found the file that you wanted to delete. And then what we would say, well, delete it. John, explain the process of this, please.
So we take a magnet, and any refrigerator magnet will work. This one I picked up in Hawaii, and we swipe it over the governing meridian, just like that. So the governing meridian starts there, goes up and over. And so just anywhere on that governing meridian, so the magnet amplifies our intention to clear out that little ball of energy, and it goes through the whole, the access is through the governing meridian to the whole meridian system, or the energy system. And that dissipates it, releases that emotion, clears it from you.
And John's got a kind of a floppy magnet there. This is like a solid magnet. This is like a magnet on the back of a clip. So for those of you, oh, do I have to have the XL1000? No, just got to have a magnet. Okay, and then we delete the magnet. And then, John, one of the things that we like to do even before we get started, because we want to be able to measure our work. Talk about the severity chart.
Yeah, it's good to know the severity, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most severe, aches and pains. We like to have, the subjective unit of distress, you can call that, before. And then, at the end of the session, even like 2-3 days later, we like to check in as well. Hey, what's the severity? Because it can change. Yeah. Sometimes, after a session, it gets down to like 5, or sometimes it's a 0. We like that. But then like 3 days later, maybe it only got down to an 8 or something in the session. And then a few days later, after you process, that could get down to like 2 or 3 or something like that. So we like to have a number to begin the session with.
Good stuff. Hey, just real quickly, if you're joining us and you've caught episode number 273, well, there's more to come, plus there's more to watch. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you'll get a notification. And we post here once a month when we're doing our live event. And we'd love to have you as one of our subscribers so you can be notified. Well, John, we were talking before the show today about, people are going to say, how long can it take? Well, it all depends on what your triggers are and so on. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Now, I've had experiences where I've helped people over a Clubhouse call in 8 minutes, and they got rid of it. And then I've worked with other clients where it's taken 2 or 3 25-minute sessions. But here's what I do know, and it's been my experience, is that after the first session, there is significant changes, and everything else after that first session is answering our questions that we're going to deliver to our friends today. So again, if you're interested and you're thinking, you know what, I'm ready, and you don't even have to be ready, we'll get you ready, But in the meantime, we want you to start building a list of things that you can bring to the call. The more prepared you are with us, imagine if you came to the call and had to ask these questions, that's like 10 or 12 minutes. You don't want that. You want to come to us and say, what drinks? So, John, I'm going to start off with what drinks, because it's different. Sometimes it's just beer. There's no sense in you and I trying to delete everything when they're not drinking everything. Say, you know what, mine is beer. And I'm working with a woman right now. Hers is red wine. Not white wine. She's never had it in her life. It's just red wine. And it was at 4 o'clock. She was boom, boom, boom. I thought, okay. When I hear for her example or somebody's example, they like to have beer when they barbecue, or they like to have red wine at 4 o'clock, or they like to sit with their husband and have a drink, a cocktail or whatever. Everything is stored in our subconscious mind in a file folder. And John and I have the ability to say, can you open up that 4 o'clock drinking habit file folder? And guess what? There's 365 of them. So John and I go to the file folder called every time I want to have a drink at 4 o'clock, and it's a beer or it's a wine. And we open the file folder of all those events, and guess what arises? An unprocessed emotion. And this is the reason why, one of the reasons why they have the 4 o'clock habit. So John, what's an example you've heard people say of different kinds of drink items? What would you add to that?
Yeah, beer, wine, cider, any sort of like rum and Coke. How about that one?
Yeah, vodka. Or I was working with the guy. He liked I don't even know what it's. I'm not a drinker, so I don't know what it's called. Bourbon. Well, he liked good bourbon. I don't know what that meant, but he made it sound expensive when he said it. So imagine it was like, whatever, a lot of money for a bourbon. And he drank it multiple times, and I got him off the bourbon. And then he told his other bourbon friends, and before you know it, I became the bourbon whisperer, because, So number one, bring us your list of, number one, what are our drinks? Number two, list of triggers. I kind of said one, and then we're going to hear John. What are some? One of the triggers for the client that I'm working with, it was 4 o'clock trigger. She got home at 4 o'clock, and she took her, shoes off, and that was her big routine. And get the glass and get the tray, and it was a big deal. And then she thought about it all day. Oh, I can't wait to get home and have 4 o'clock. But she never drank before or after. It was just that one, but 365 days a year and so on. So the trigger was, when I get home for 4 o'clock, what are some other triggers, John? And the trigger means something that, this makes me do this. What are some examples?
Right. How about dinner time? A glass of wine with dinner.
Yeah. As soon as dinner's ready, there's a trigger that says, oh, then we're having wine with that, or we have to have, because we always do.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about John, watching your football? Do you ever go to
watching sports
and not have a drink?
Right. Yeah, watching football. Okay.
Yeah, and there's no judgment about these triggers, by the way. These are, everybody has different triggers for different things, but your job, if you want to delete it, is you say, oh, can you open the file folder that's called football and find out the emotions that cause me to want to have a drink just because it's football or because it's this show or this show?
Yeah, or just, any show. Maybe you're watching like a home cooking show or something like that, or cooking dinner. Yeah, I'm going to start cooking dinner.
Or how about when Bob comes over or your neighbor? I was telling John earlier that I'm not really a drinker, but when my friend Greg comes over, he brings wine and I drink it. Why? So is it a trigger or is it a habit? Well, this is another challenge, is the social aspect, right, John?
Yeah.
If you're trying to give up. So let's go through the list. Number one, what do they drink? Number two, list the triggers. I'm going to read a couple on the list here, John. Number one, for example, after work, going to the bar. I worked at the government. Everybody went out for, not everybody, but that was a big deal. It was so
Friday afternoon.
Everybody went, or at noon.
Or at noon.
Now, the next one, people have to give this some thought because they might not know they have them. Number three on the list is limiting beliefs. Now, this is a story that we keep telling ourselves over and over and over again. I'm not strong enough to quit. Well, that's a belief. Well, John and I can change your mind about that. So imagine on this hand saying you want to quit drinking, and on this hand you say you're not strong enough. Well, what if we collapse that? John, what are some other common limiting beliefs people have about quitting drinking?
Yes, we've done videos on the beliefs. So a good one would be, you can muscle test this. Do I believe I can be a non-drinker? Right? Yes or no. You're testing that. Do I believe I can be a non-drinker? Right. So if it's no, then you got to work with that subconscious lack of belief in yourself.
We find out what's causing the belief. Is it safe for me to be a non-drinker? Is it okay? Am I worthy? Likely these are all turned off to no. So again, your conscious mind says, I want to be a non-drinker. And the subconscious mind says, good luck with that. You'll never be a non-drinker. It's not okay. So John and I, we quiet that limiting belief by finding the emotion that's causing it and delete it. And then we test it and say, do I believe that it's not safe? And it's like, no, I did, but I don't anymore. Let's review the list. Somebody emails and say, listen, I'm a beer drinker and I have to have it when my buddies come over or when I'm working in the garage or when the football game's on, and certainly over a barbecue. And I don't want to drink anymore because I don't know when to stop, and it gets me angry. Oh, should we even talk about that for a moment, John? John, which organ gets disrupted when we drink?
Yeah, the liver.
And which emotions are collected and stored around the liver?
Oh, there's a few here. Yeah. So, you know, those hot ones, some people drink, they get angry. There's one, anger. And then, you know, very similar, resentment, hatred, you feel guilty, bitter, depression, right? So it is a
all the
depressant.
flare-ups.
Yeah, you cry into your, what's the saying? Like cry into your beer, your pint, or
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
It goes back to the reason why people might want to give up drinking, because it disrupts the liver and these emotions that John's giving us. So that's why people, when they're drinking, they get angry and ticked off and they're kicking and fighting and all that stuff. So your limiting beliefs that you can't stop drinking, well, we will change your mind. You won't have to. You just tell us what your belief is and we will change your mind. We are the mind changers. Okay, number 4, I alluded to it earlier. What does that mean, John? Fear of what? Of quitting? Why would I fear quitting?
Well, there can be a lot. There's definitely some depth and some layers to this one. But what about like losing your friends, right? You know, your buddies, your friends, your besties, your BFF that, you know,
habits.
You go out on Friday or Saturday night, right? And, you know, you go for a cocktail or whatever. And all of a sudden, you know, you're not having that cocktail, right? Are you still going to go out? You're going to lose your bestie. You're just not going to hang out anymore.
Yeah. You can see why we ask people to come, you know, to think about this. You know, it's like, I'm going to book today. I'm going to go to the site and book today for next week. And I got to think about that. What else? Oh, maybe my friends won't invite me to their parties when they know that it's all drinking, a drinking party. Oh, I'm fearing that. Real good point there, John. And then the other one, you know, it's just other reasons. Well, we don't have all the answers, but, you know, some people, you know, they drink out of boredom. They're sitting home by themselves and they're lonely. They're bored or they're lonely. People will come to us with that. What are a couple other reasons, John, that people could put on that list?
Oh, this is the one I wanted to like start with, talk about stress, right? When you're like, oh yeah, I'm stressed out. Oh, what is it? So it's stress is like the umbrella, the catch-all of all the emotions. So you're feeling that anxiety, right? That little anxiety is just like vibrating and rattling around you. But you call it stress, but you know the reason is that trapped emotion of anxiety, or it could be, right? So that's one.
And then the belief that the booze will help. Oh, if I'm going to drink because it's going to calm me down. You know, that's a belief that we can change as well.
Yeah.
And it's not on the list, but it comes up during this session, and we just wanted to make sure you heard it. There's in my work, there's 2 key emotions on the trauma chart. And one is the trauma of obsession, and one is the trauma of fanatic. Now, I'm on day 370 of zero sugar. I've helped 125 people get rid of sugar forever. And these emotions came up so many times. And the trauma of obsession means I got to have it and buy it and get it and shop for it and eat it. And it's got to be in my groceries. And the trauma of fanatic is I'm fanatic about eating it till it's gone. Have another one, then have another one. Put it in the cupboard, go back. All that energy, guess what? It applies to drinking and smoking and habits and shopping. So those 2 emotions, fanatic and obsession, will.
Yeah.
Now, John, we're having new people watch us today, learning for the first time about our skill set that we can help them. Tell people what to do to book an appointment, and we told them how to prepare. But what's the experience after that? Because they're not used to just doing stuff over Zoom and getting help without hours of therapy. Go ahead, please.
Right. Yeah. It's really quick, really easy to work with us. We both have online scheduling. So I'm at aliveandpeer.com, and Michael can be found at releasingnegativeemotions.com or michaellozier.com. And just find a day that works for you. For this type of a subject, you know, most subjects, we do recommend multiple sessions to start, you know, 2-3 session bundle. And, you know, that way we can get that second, third layer out and, you know, do our best work, right? Like, you know, something like this, you owe it to yourself to give it a chance. And we can do a session over Zoom like this. We'll send you a link. If you don't want to be on video, phone call works as well.
Sure.
And if you can't find a time, email sessions as well. So you can just send us a list of concerns, and we'll work on you. Send you a list of things that we found, let you know what we did, and you can go about your day. If there's a different time zone or something like that, like I've helped people in Asia where it just wouldn't work, or like Australia where we just can't find a time. So that's an option as well.
Yeah.
It's good. Like we've reiterated a few times to send a list of concerns. Like this one. What drinks. What time. What sort of fears, what reasons, and then we'll do the rest.
Yeah, we can ask you those questions too, but give you something to think about. I wanted to talk about the severity chart. For example, the client that I'm working with now that had the 4 o'clock triggers every day, there was a file folder, and that was hard pressed. So I did the first session. The first session was 25 minutes. The subconscious mind said, you don't even need that. So we did other things, self-esteem and negative, other stuff that I like to do. And then we met the second, and she said, I'm still craving some like 4 o'clock. So still doesn't tell us anything, right? She was a 10, right? So, well, you were a 10. So the first thing I like to do is measure it, right? And I would say, I'm asking the subconscious, what is the severity that I've reduced my cravings and triggers for 4 o'clock drinks? Is it over 10? It was like 93%. And you know what she said? She said, I agree with that. But we didn't hear it when people say I'm still drinking. But she felt good in acknowledging, it's like, wow, that's a huge, that was 3 days after doing this every day. Her session was 3 days apart. And she said, yes. The other thing that I allow my clients to do, is to send me a little email in between. And I said, listen, if you're going throughout your day and you're thinking about 4 o'clock, just send me a quick little email because I can delete that thought, right? Kind of supporting them. And that's why we suggest that you get 2 or 3 sessions and make sure that we'll get a big chunk done out of the way. I've never not had massive results the first session, but then there's a little tweak. That little trigger showed up. That little trigger showed up. That little trigger. Mm-hmm. And our goal is 0. That's our goal. We can't guarantee it, but we will work to get that done. And come prepared with the list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to put something in the chat here. Good. So real quickly, again, if you're listening and watching, John and I would love to help you release and the need and all the emotions that are causing you to want to drink. Come prepared, bring a list. We'd love to help you with that. It's a private session, and we know it's vulnerable to. So if you want to email the list, then the less you have to talk about, the better. And we will make it a very respectful session for you and change your life that way. Episode 273. If you want to be notified and thinking, oh, I really love to watch these guys live. This was, by the way, the first time that we didn't ask for volunteers, John. All the episodes, we always ask for volunteers. You're thinking, oh, do they ever do a session? We always do a session, except for today. We knew that it wouldn't we would do it volunteer justice today because we need to ask questions and have a lot of data. So instead, we said, we want to work with you one-on-one, and here's how to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, John, we're back next month. We choose the subject usually that week of. We'll be looking for volunteers next month. Be sure to join us. Be sure to get on our notification list. We send an email out Friday before, and of course, Saturday morning about an hour before, in case you forgot that we're going to be here. We want to make sure you join. ReleasingNegativeEmotions.com/live. John, I will see you next month here on the Releasing Negative Emotions show. We'll see you later.
Sounds good. Have a great day, everyone.